Hey, what's up, 49ers faithful? Buckle up because we've got a lot to unpack today about our San Francisco 49ers. The good, the bad, and the slightly concerning. The season's sitting at 4 wins and 2 losses. And yeah, there's still a long climb ahead, but this team has the talent and grit to fight through. What's catching everyone's attention lately, though, is all this talk about Jauan Jennings possibly being traded. And honestly, let's keep it real. Most of that feels like pure speculation. People are just connecting dots that might not even be on the same page, saying stuff like, hey, this team needs a wide receiver, that one has a defensive end, so why not just swap players? But football doesn't work like fantasy trades. From where I stand, it doesn't make a lot of sense right now. Jennings brings attitude, toughness, and fire. Things you can't just replace with another name on the roster. Yeah, he's banged up, playing through ankle, rib, and shoulder issues, but that's what makes him who he is. He's the type of guy who plays through pain because he knows the team needs him. Some people forget how much heart that takes. Still, I get the other side of the argument. If the team believes he won't be around after this season, maybe it makes sense to get something in return while they can. That's the on. It's also easy to see why Jennings might be frustrated right now. He worked through the off-season drama. He's been grinding, and then Kinderborn comes back, barely unpacks his bags, and suddenly starts racking up reps and targets. That would test anyone's patience, especially a competitor like Jauan. But that's part of the game. Wide receivers are emotional by nature. They want the ball, they want to make plays, they want to be seen. When that doesn't happen, tensions rise. It's natural. What matters is how you channel it. And from what I can tell, Shanahan and Jennings have moved past the sideline tension. Shanahan's not losing sleep over it, and Jennings is probably losing sleep because it hurts to breathe with cracked ribs, not because of some argument on the field. Speaking of Shanahan, I have to say, he sounded different this week. You could feel it in the way he talked. He got real. There was no sugarcoating, no vague coach talk. He was sharp, even blunt at times, and that caught my attention. Take his comments about Sky Moore, for instance. Moore's been making some questionable decisions on punt returns, fielding the ball inside the 5-yard line, and Shanahan didn't hold back. When he was asked if there was a coaching point about that, he flat out said, "That's a no. That's a big no." You could practically hear the frustration in his voice. That's not the kind of answer he usually gives unless he's genuinely irritated. Then came the question about Isaac Guerendo being removed from kick returns. Shanahan explained it wasn't anything dramatic, a mix of ball security concerns and wanting to give Brian Robinson Jr. a shot. But the tone? It said a lot. He didn't feel the need to defend anyone. He was straightforward, saying something like, nothing terrible to lose it, but nothing special to keep it. That's the kind of honesty we don't always get from coaches. He even said Robinson Jr. has shown flashes, averaging about 4 yards per carry, which, by the way, is better than Christian McCaffrey's average right now, though obviously on far fewer attempts. That's something worth keeping an eye on. As for Sky Moore, the team's still figuring out what to do. He's out with an ankle injury, and Shanahan mentioned Jordan Watkins might get a chance at punt returns in practice. When I heard him say that, I couldn't help but think Shanahan might actually prefer Watkins there. It's not that he's done with Moore, but he clearly wants to see something different, maybe even something more reliable. And with Junior Bergen also taking reps in practice, there's real competition brewing for that return role. Now, one of the more interesting things Shanahan clarified was about the defensive communication. When asked if linebacker D. Winters would keep wearing the green to relay plays, Shanahan shut it down instantly. He said, "Tatum will be calling." That's it. No explanation, no hesitation. The tone made it pretty clear. Tatum Bethune is taking charge now. That kind of directness tells you everything you need to know about who the staff trusts at that middle linebacker spot heading into the next game. He also confirmed something else that raised eyebrows. When asked if Mac was more limited than Brock Purdy right now, Shanahan didn't hesitate. No, Brock's more limited. Straight up answer. Which is interesting because the footage of Purdy at practice doesn't really look like he's struggling much. He's throwing with zip, his motion looks clean, and the ball's coming out fast. You can see George Kittle next to him too, back in action after being sidelined. And that alone is huge for this team. You can feel the energy shift when Kittle's on the field. The guy just brings intensity and joy that lifts everyone around him. Kittle might still be limited in practice, but his presence alone boosts the offense. Shanahan even said having a dynamic player like George back helps in every way: blocking, route running, leadership, all of it. He called him one of the team's true leaders, a guy who's been here from the start and knows what it takes. That's not just talk. The younger players genuinely rally around him. And honestly, this team needs that right now. With so many key players dealing with injuries, having a vocal, high-energy veteran back makes a massive difference. Speaking of injuries, the list is long. Ricky Parrall's still out. Sky Moore, ankle injury. Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams both had veteran rest days. Jordan Watkins was limited but still returning punts. Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, Dominic Pooney, all limited. Kevin Givens is easing back in. And Jauan Jennings, well, we now know he's been battling multiple injuries at once: ankle, ribs, and shoulder. Shanahan basically said, yeah, now that Jennings has opened up about it, we can talk about it. It's crazy to think how much he's been playing through. Then there's Nick Martin. Remember him? He's been waiting for his shot, and now that Fred Warner's down, Shanahan says it's his opportunity. Said Martin's been working hard every day, doing everything right, and this week could be when he finally gets his chance to prove himself. If he plays anything like he did in preseason, we might be in for a pleasant surprise. When Shanahan talked about linebacker Tatum Bethune's last performance, you could hear genuine pride. He admitted there were mistakes, sure, but called the tape inspiring. That's not a word you hear often from him. He said that after watching the game film again, it gave him a new perspective, that despite all the adversity, the young guys stepped up. That's exactly the kind of response you want from a coach. And then there's Kendrick Bourne. The man's been a roller coaster since rejoining the team. Some huge plays, a few frustrating drops, and the occasional missed block. But Shanahan made it clear he's grateful to have him. Think about it. Bourne jumped into a starting role by week 4, without training camp, without OTAs, and in an offense that's changed a ton since he was last here. Of course, there are going to be hiccups, but he's improving each week, catching up with the system, and finding chemistry with the quarterbacks. That's another big thing. This team's had to juggle multiple quarterbacks already, and that affects everything, especially timing with receivers. Bourne's working through that while still producing. He might not be perfect, but his energy and adaptability have kept the offense afloat during some tough stretches. Now we're just a few days away from facing the Atlanta Falcons. They're coming in hot after beating the Buffalo Bills, and they'll be motivated. The 49ers, on the other hand, have to find their rhythm fast. The defense is missing key leaders like Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, and Tatum Bethune's going to have a massive responsibility holding down middle. The Falcons love attacking that area, and it's going to test his instincts and tackling. If he can rise to the moment, it'll go a long way in proving the depth of this defense. And speaking of adjustments, it feels like this entire season has been one long balancing act for the 49ers. Every week there's a new curveball, whether it's injuries, lineup shuffles, or just trying to find consistency on both sides of the ball. That's what makes this team fascinating. They're talented enough to dominate when everything clicks, but when they're even slightly out of sync, you can feel the cracks. Kyle Shanahan knows it, and you can hear it in his tone when he talks lately. It's not panic, but it's definitely intensity. He's laser-focused on cleaning things up, especially the mental mistakes that have cost them key drives. Watching the tape from the Tampa Bay game, you could see flashes of what this team can still be. There are moments of beautiful rhythm on offense, especially when Purdy found his comfort zone. Even though he's been battling through limitations, the kid's poise is still there. You can see him reading defenses quickly, adjusting protections, and trusting his arm again. When he's decisive, the whole offense moves differently. But when the rhythm stalls, when he's forced off script, that's when things start to feel shaky. Shanahan's offense depends on precision, and right now, with all the injuries, it's hard to maintain that precision every snap. The return of George Kittle should help settle some of that. His chemistry with Purdy is real, and it opens up the playbook. You could tell even in limited practice reps that the energy shifts when he's out there. It's contagious. The offensive line feeds off it, the receivers loosen up, and even the running backs seem more confident when Kittle's in motion. Shanahan wasn't exaggerating when he said Kittle's presence changes everything. Not just his blocking, but the way he commands attention from defenses. When you got a player like that coming off the line, linebackers hesitate, safeties cheat up, and suddenly other guys start getting open. That's the version of this offense we haven't seen consistently yet this year. Another key name that needs to step up is Brandon Ayuk. He's still a few weeks away from returning, but his absence has been huge. The offense misses that reliable outside target who can separate against man coverage. Bourne has done well, but he's still learning the nuances of Shanahan's updated scheme. Demarcus Robinson is slowly finding rhythm again after his rough start, and once he locks in, he could be a real asset. We saw what he could do with the Rams, so it's just a matter of time and confidence. But the receiver room has been a revolving door lately, and that instability always bleeds into execution. Defensively, the biggest storyline is still how they handle the middle of the field without Fred Warner. That's not just losing a great linebacker. That's losing the voice of the defense. Tatum Bethune is stepping into massive shoes, and Shanahan's confidence in him is telling. Calling him inspiring wasn't just a compliment. It was a message. It's like he's saying, this kid earned it. Watching Bethune play, you see why. He's aggressive, he reads gaps fast, and when he hits hard. But there's still a learning curve. Tampa Bay exposed a few coverage lapses, especially on cross routes. That's where Warner's instincts are irreplaceable. Still, there were bright spots all over that tape. The young defenders fought through adversity and didn't back down. You can sense that Shanahan and defensive coordinator Steve Wilks are proud of how they're responding. They know this unit's been tested early, but they also know this is where teams build identity. You don't define your season by easy wins. You define it by how you respond when everything's stacked against you. And that's what makes this next matchup against Atlanta so interesting. The Falcons are confident, coming off a big win over Buffalo, but they're also unpredictable. They love to attack the edges with their running game, and they'll challenge the 49ers linebackers in space. Shanahan's got to find a way to counter that without overextending the front. With Bosa still out, it's on guys like Drake Jackson and Javon Hargrave to create pressure without losing containment. Atlanta's quarterback can move, and if the defense gets caught being too aggressive, they'll give up big plays. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most shocking moves of the offseason, whispers are swirling across the NFL. The San Francisco 49ers are reportedly eyeing a blockbuster addition to their ground game. Sources close to league circles suggest that star running back Saquon Barkley might be on the move from the Philadelphia Eagles, and the destination generating the most buzz is none other than the 49ers. While no official announcement has been made, insiders hint that negotiations are intensifying behind closed doors, and the possibility of Barkley suiting up in red and gold next season is sending shockwaves through football circles. Barkley, known for his explosive speed, agility, and vision on the field, has been a cornerstone of the Eagles' rushing attack, but lingering questions about injuries and consistency have left fans wondering if a change of scenery could reignite his career. The 49ers, already a team with a dynamic offense and a balanced approach, would gain a player capable of transforming their ground game into a high-octane threat. Imagine the possibilities. Barkley slicing through defenses alongside Christian McCaffrey-style versatility, lining up both in the backfield and motion, creating mismatches that could leave opponents scrambling. Rumors suggest the deal could involve draft picks or a swap of role players, though the specifics remain murky. Some league insiders caution that Barkley's salary and injury history make this a high-risk, high-reward maneuver, but the 49ers front office has shown in the past that they're willing to bet big when it comes to talent. If this move comes to fruition, San Francisco could suddenly be the team everyone watches not just for their passing game, but for an unpredictable, bruising, and elusive rushing attack. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing on social media, debating whether this potential acquisition would tip the scales for a Super Bowl run. Barkley in Levi's Stadium? The thought alone is enough to get 49ers faithful dreaming of back-to-back championship hopes. Of course, for now, it's all speculation. But in a league where fortunes can change overnight, the idea of Barkley donning red and gold is one rumor that refuses to die quietly. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.